All right. Welcome to the Audio Link Podcast. Tom and Brandon here. Super excited to be talking about mixing live stream audio. Very, very central topic to what we do.
It's true.
And I think, it's just kind of getting back to the basics, talking about some of the general stuff that everyone should know when it comes to mixing broadcast audio, really for anything, but obviously especially for church. So hope you guys enjoy. There's some stuff for beginners. There's some stuff for advanced. You're just going to have to listen to the whole entire thing every second.
All of your opinions.
Yes, all the side quests.
On YouTube said, these dudes don't know what we're talking about.
Wait, dude.
And that guy is correct.
Yes. Whoever you are, you're the most correct person we've ever met. We have no idea what we're talking about. So thanks for pointing that out. All right. Hope you guys enjoy. We should just... All right.
That was actually
good. Nutty good.
That was good. It's pretty... We'll look at the audio files and see how close they were.
Yeah. How many samples apart?
What if it was perfect?
I wouldn't be shocked.
I'm going to sneak it into a record.
Knowing myself.
Okay. So I think the first misconception about live stream is that what you're hearing. So there's so many more variables than the room, I think. Mixing front of house is a lot different than mixing live stream because of the amount of variables, right? So the first of that being, what is the listener listening on? Right?
Yes. Okay.
So like, if you're listening on your phone, just here, that sounds different than when you have AirPods on, which sounds different than when you're in your car, which sounds different than when you're listening on your home stereo, which sounds different when you're in a studio.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you don't know who's listening on what, and right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard. So, as difficult as it is to get quality on live stream, I'm asking you, what do you think are two things, and I'll say two things, that are critical, like two concepts that are really, really critical for consistency in live stream?
Yeah. I mean, I think the obvious thing across all those, like, how do you make it perform across all the different platforms? It's just a very small dynamic range, I think is number one.
Yep.
But the difference, in a lot of ways, I would say the difference between really good mixers and not so good ones is how much compression they're able to apply to the mix without it sounding bad and actually making it sound better and more transparent and
more dynamic.
It
sounds more dynamic, but it's actually not.
It's actually less.
It's actually square.
Because they know how to pull. Yeah. I think of compression like pulling and snapping a rubber band. And you're making a perceived movement that actually doesn't exist because you just pull and snap these rubber bands in time. So it's like, I think guys,
I'm having a hard time understanding that analogy.
What I'm saying is like, okay, think of it like this. Yeah. Like I have say my rubber band is here, like this is how much dynamic range I have.
Yeah.
And my rubber band is like in the middle. I'm just pulling it and snapping it within this small range, but at least it's creating some movement and energy that happens in time. It pushes them. It pushes when it's supposed to, and it pulls back when it's supposed to create drama. And
we are dramatic.
Yes,
true.
Yes, we're very dramatic. So I think
Nate's like,
yeah, they are.
Yeah. You never respond to my texts.
Yeah. You're the dramatic one, Nate. All right? All your comments. No.
I think we should get a producer mic for Nate so he can try
that would be fun.
So he can defend himself.
No.
He'd just say,
no defense. It's our podcast. Okay, so he literally just made the slightest face and we just went after him.
Sorry.
So
actually, I'm not sorry. It was fun.
Yeah, the point is, I think the dynamic range is 0.1, just like obviously record mixing or anything else, like that people are going to listen across different platforms. And then I think the second thing the biggest misconception I had before meeting you and really like seeing this world of broadcast that we do is how important the crowd mics are. I think people perceive crowd mics and their positioning. Like a lot of people understand how important, or just know that like vocal mic technique is important, drum mic technique is important, and the value. But then they'll just have like, I've seen churches with like 441s on the snare bottom, and
that's my favorite mic.
Yeah, and whatever on the overheads. They got, and then they've got a couple SM57s as crowd mics. Like, you know what I'm saying?
They're actually probably decent crowd mics, but yeah.
Yeah, but the point is like they're not doing something that intentional with the crowds.
Yeah.
And because of it, they just don't have like, I feel like the difference in broadcast that I hear, the second I turn it on, it either feels open and lush and it's easy, or it sounds very difficult.
Yeah.
Like everything automatically sounds bad and you're trying to get it there. Or with the crowds, it's like, well, it can just kind of sound like anything. What do you think of that?
Part of that is because you're expecting, as the viewer, and we're different. I think we're a little bit different because we're like looking to nitpick, I think, because we're sound guys and that's what we do. We're all really, really arrogant jerks.
Yes. Let's start there.
And we just,
Yeah.
That's obviously not true, but
we're like the main critic in Ratatouille.
I say that. What I mean is that we always, when we're looking at something and we're hearing it for the first time, we are judging. It is an inherent. I feel like we always do that. We judge.
Oh yeah.
And the experience of clicking on a YouTube link, and pushing go, and like listening to it.
Yeah.
The defining factor for me is, does it pull me in, or am I over? I can't like overcome the objections of my ears.
Yeah,
and that's a good. I think that's a really good metric to have, because we're in the business of helping churches with audio and with live stream and front of house. So it's like,
if it pulls us in,
if it pulls you in, that's like, dang, what are you doing?
Yeah,
I want to learn, right? And I think that's the posture we should all have, because it's like,
dude,
if you're always willing to learn, there's that there's growth.
Yeah,
and it's what does it say? It's like king of the hill, right? When you're on the top, it's like so hard to stay on the top,
dude.
But if you're always looking to learn, you're never on the top, so to speak.
Well, I think also like the just to riff on that point a little bit, the reality of art is interesting, because like obviously we've had that whole thing about storytelling, but like, which is so easy to bring out anything back to storytelling, but like it's just so crazy to me how like I could hear a song with like a great singer and an acoustic guitar playing, and it could just be like, I have zero interest in this. Zero. This person could have amazing vocal capability. They could play the guitar incredibly well. Yeah. I could have zero interest in it. It could be mixed incredibly well. I could have zero interest in it. But then like you pop any like Ed Sheeran song, and within the first 10 seconds, for some reason, you're just like in there. You're just taken in. Like certain music, even like Ed Sheeran stuff, like especially his earlier stuff. I mean, there was pop elements the whole time, so maybe not earlier, but like
he's just obscenely talented.
He's so talented, and like his voice is, it just something about like he's actually creating this art that's going to be really loud.
That's fine.
He's just creating this art that it just communicates. Yeah. And I think with mixing, like, can we really explain with words why one mix is so good and why another one is not?
Yes, you can. But
yes, but then if I said, what do you mean by that? Well, a couple layers deep, you have nothing.
You're trying to explain feelings.
Yeah.
And nuance and all that stuff. And I think that's the beauty of music, because it is, by nature, a lot of it is just an intangible. it's an intangible. It's like something about Ed Sheeran's music draws me in. And it's not that his voice or his whatever, you can't like point to one thing. It's just the vibe.
The vibe. What is that, though?
Yes, exactly.
What is that?
How
is
do
my
you
question.
Articulate
yes,
that, right? Yeah.
with mixes,
Yeah.
we could hear a really nice live stream.
Yeah.
We've even done it, or we could hear a little
And
nice
it feels
record.
stale.
And I'm interested, and you're like, meh.
Yeah.
I can just tell you're like, yeah, and I'm like impressed, and you're just like, yeah, because you're thinking like a record mixer, like the vibes are not there. Mm-hmm. You know,
Well,
even though they're clinically doing a lot of things right.
Yeah, doing things right is completely subjective.
Yeah.
And that's hard to understand because
That's not completely true, but
Well,
I
okay.
hear your point. Yeah.
I mean
It gets subjective at a certain point.
Yeah. But I think maybe the subjectivity comes in after like
Base levels of excellence.
You've
yeah.
nailed your fundamentals.
Exactly. Yes.
So I remember I mixed this one song. Darren King played drums on it, and it was like amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, Darren King is playing drums on it.
He's the best.
He's just he's just so creative and out of the box, but everything he does is so cool. It's like, dude, everything is
it's fresh, it's vibey and cool. Yeah.
Like I remember opening the files and like looking at it, and I'm like, this isn't like the most like well recorded drums I've ever heard. I remember like soloing up the overheads, and it was like overhead left, overhead right, but like the left was like a ribbon mic, and the right was like something completely different that sounded like a telephone, maybe a trash.
It was like a
audio
tube,
mic.
yeah.
It was not the same at all. It was not an image. It was like a vibe.
It was just a vibe of drums. Yeah. That's so cool.
The beauty of that, it's like even though like it went against all of my fundamentals,
I
had told myself before even opening the session that I am not going to sample anything. I'm going to use everything he does. And I was like, this record was so challenging for me to mix overall because it's not worship. It's just more,
it's not your main
way more
squeeze,
creative. It was so much fun. And the producer pushed me so hard into like a new area and to grow, and it was so fun. But like I remember opening that session and just being like, this is crazy. like what is he doing? So as I like kind of like listen to it and understand what he's doing, like using the ears that God gave me to hear things, to create like something that is ultra vibey and sick sounding, with like this guy, this drummer who is doing something and he has a vision. Like, how do I keep that vision and put it into the context of this music that's like ultra, just amazing? And it was, oh man. Anyway, but like if you listen to that song, like the overhead left and right are not the same at all.
No.
Like, the stems on that, I remember going back about a year after I'd mixed it and I listened to the drum stem. I'm like, man, it's so cool, but it's not like
right.
It's not
correct.
Stale, like left, right, whatever.
Yeah, worship drums.
Perfectly phase aligned.
stuff,
But it was so cool. I remember just being so in love with doing something creative and expressive. So the subjectivity, I think, comes in. It's like, oh, well, he didn't do it right. But he did it right. Like, does that make sense? Like, but he did it so good.
Okay.
And it was so inspiring.
Okay, so think about this.
Yeah.
So, I actually think Lee said something similar to this about snare. I forget. It was some
Lee
post
has
about.
so many amazing one-liners.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, that's because he's over 40.
Yes. It's an old geezer.
I'm just kidding.
Joking.
I'm not too far away from that.
Yeah, that's true. Just joking. Again joking. Okay. I joke. No, so what I was going to say is this is what's crazy to me. So music, like the hip hop industry, multi-billion-dollar. The pop industry, multi-billion-dollar. The indie industry, multi-hundred-million-dollar for sure. You know what I mean? Probably billions. These different genres are like all very popular simultaneously. Now, they all connect people. People pack stadiums. They buy tickets. They stream the music like crazy, right? Like think the difference between like Olivia Rodrigo and Travis Scott, right? Like these are two completely different styles of music, both billions of streams to Central C, right? You have like whole spectrum, right?
Wait. You
Cinch,
British rap.
bro.
Oh,
So,
Tom, I was immediately introduced to British rap.
Yes. Moving on. So the point is, all of these relate to people.
Yeah.
Yet, like for some reason, in my mind, because of Hillsong, like the church has decided that there's a genre for worship music, and they've decided like because of how art moves and how many people do ministry, I guess, like this is how we're going to relate to people. This is the way we're going to do it. We're all going to pretty much do it this way. Like, why aren't many churches like doing really progressive but engaging things to engage people? You know, like okay, churches are spending millions of dollars on AVL technology to reach people in their church services. Why don't they spend near none and just have church services with a microphone and an acoustic guitar, whatever, and just the fluorescent lights on, but then like spend millions of dollars producing films for people? Like, why did everyone choose this method? Because for the most part, when we mix live stream for people, this is what I'm getting at, is like when we mix live stream for people, they all want the same thing. And I think that's, even if the music genres are a little bit different, one's a little more
between CCM-ish and gospel-ish.
Yeah. All right. That's the whole spectrum. You just described it. And it's like,
true.
But yet very different styles of music are engaging people. And I think no one is like with their live stream, for example, or with their music in church trying to do something completely different.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Why do you think?
I'm getting a little off topic, but I think it's because there's a certain amount of risk-averse thinking that you know, like
The civilization as a whole.
It's like I mean, there's a lot of elements to this, and nothing is simple, right? But if you don't want to take a risk, you're going to do something that's considered safe. So why, if you know something works, why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, that's the point.
It's like
if it works,
takes risk, and a risk, honestly, like entrepreneurs who become pastors are probably much more friendly with risk,
of course,
because they're that's what they do. They take risks. But pastors who are maybe more, less entrepreneurial and more like maybe people
oriented or X, Y, or Z. Yeah.
So they are like more risk averse, and this kind of like we're gonna do. We know what we know works because we see all these other churches with big PA systems and LED walls, and
this is what we do,
and this is what we do.
Yeah, and
I think in a lot of ways, that thinking, I don't know if it's wrong. I don't think it's not wrong or right. I do think there's a problem with the church just being comfortable. I think the church should be uncomfortable because when you're comfortable, it means you're not growing. Does that make sense?
Totally, yeah.
And I it's kind of like all flowing from the same fountain, but
totally.
If we're just really comfortable with our,
Yes, and I think maybe something I'm also disregarding, not to go like super natural now.
Supernatural?
To your no. Or ultra natural. Is or carnal is just the fact that like talent is actually very limited.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like, maybe if Lord went to a church, the worship would sound like some strange, like crazy pop, weird New Zealand thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, there's only one Lord, I guess, as in the
Lord
one with an E at the end, that one.
Not the Lord.
There's also only one Lord, but we'll move past that point. So,
other Lord, capital L.
Yeah, capital L. Whatever. Point is, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I just think that's interesting because ultimately, okay, here's a question I have for you. Why do you think so many people are struggling with it? Because I would say if I were to just pull up like YouTube and write church live stream and I got past like the really popular ones that SEO would pop up.
Yeah.
And I went down like 50.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to like 61, 62, and 63 on the list. And they're just some random churches. I could probably place a sizable bet that they're going to sound pretty rough.
Yeah.
And win on that bet.
Yeah.
So my question is, why do you think everyone's is...
Yeah.
That wasn't a bet. We never bet.
That's true. It was a threat of a bet.
It was a yes, suggestion towards a bet that didn't happen. So my question is, why are they so bad? By default, they're just absolutely just
lack of knowledge. I think is the, just, they haven't been exposed to it.
What's the biggest thing they're missing?
I don't even think it's. I think it. Well, okay. The first answer is a unicorn volunteer, or someone on staff that's knowledgeable and willing to learn.
Yeah,
which I think is pretty rare, especially like live streaming wasn't really. A lot of places had picked up steam in the 2010s, right? Like obviously, streaming to Facebook in mono, wonderful. But like that's picked up steam. But then COVID hit, and then everyone live streamed. And after that, everyone was because you couldn't gather in your buildings. The worship team could barely gather in some places, so that's when everyone was kind of forced into this new industry. And it's like just a lack of knowledge. It's, the things that are so easily accessible to us because we're in the field. We know the people, we know the equipment, all that stuff, the software. It's just a lack of availability for those things. And it's a new industry. It is literally probably 15 years old at the most.
That's valid.
Like
it is
YouTube.
new.
I remember watching like Hillsong Conference 2007. And that was like one of the main things on YouTube from churches. It was
that was mixed on a PM1D for sure. I don't even have to ask.
But that's like this industry was not around.
Yeah, that's true.
20 years ago.
That's true.
Streaming in general wasn't around 20 years ago. But
yeah,
social media, nothing. So,
do you think churches should stream if it's bad?
I don't think it's bad. Oh, you mean like the quality's bad?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd
agree.
I don't think that. Well, first of all, you're asking a question that's missional, and I think missional, it's like we are this. What's happening in our room needs to be out in the world for our people to access it, not in this building. That's like one of the main missions of a church, right? Like to go out into the world. So I think it's very important that you stream. But also, it's not like. It's just if you don't have a technology pastor.
Yeah, you don't have a technology pastor?
No. But it's hard.
Offering pastor?
It's like, hey, I need you to learn how to climb Mount Everest in 2 weeks. Can you do it?
Yeah.
That's
that conversation. Don't get me going on that.
But I'm saying it's akin to that.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that makes sense.
That's a good question, though.
Interesting. Okay, so if other than just hiring AudioLink, which is the obvious solution for this whole problem, we could probably just delete this podcast. But when it comes to mixing broadcast, what would you say are the most important things overall that you focus on?
Okay, so input gain is obviously number one. Okay. Input gain.
Boring. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, it is boring, but it's also important.
Yes.
So, input gain is very. It's like the first thing. It's like the level coming out of the board is too hot.
Joel could explain this now, my son.
Yeah.
My 5-year-old son now understands input gain since last night at Upper Room.
Yeah, that one.
He was setting gains for the service last night. I don't know if you noticed, Nate. Carry on, sorry.
Yeah. Twisting.
We should have him on, and see how he explains it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That would be interesting. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
So, input gain. What is your standard? Because there has to be a standard. Like we want drums to hit -4. We want vocals to hit -10 or whatever. We want this to hit. guitars to hit this and to be at that level. And what console are you on? What reference are you using? Because that, like, all of these questions are under the input gain umbrella, because all of these consoles do monitoring and metering differently. So, or not monitoring, metering. They do metering differently. Yeah. So how does your console meter? What does that mean? And then I think other than that, it's hard. I think staged compression, I think, is the
next thing,
the most important thing.
Can you share what staged compression is to people?
So
I think most of our listeners probably know, but some might not.
Yeah. I keep itching my eyes. Allergies, man.
Dude, everyone's saying that.
Staged compression, like
it's fake
1, 2, 3,
compression.
4, 5.
It's just staged.
Yeah. So the difference between so there's the secret to getting a really, really loud mix that doesn't sound compressed. Yeah. So the secret to volume on Livestream in general is going to be compression, because if you think about it, you can't raise the volume. Like when I turn the volume up on my phone all the way, how loud does it get?
You just get it to the audio standard,
and that's there. So the industry, to fix that problem, it will only get so loud, right? You turn it all the way up on your phone and it's still super quiet. You don't know why. It's because you're not meeting standards that were met for broadcast. Broadcast standards started when, radio television days back in the 50s, 60s. Like, because we have to send volume, amplified signal to these analog transmitters, and it has to be 50,000 watts. Well, into the atmosphere. So that's where it came from, and you have to have a standard based on that. And in the digital world, there is a ceiling. There's a pretty hard ceiling. And there was in the analog world too, but it wasn't like getting up to the analog ceiling was harder because, there wasn't like a hard cutoff. It was just, it would start to clip. It would start to actually like distort, because you're overdriving the circuits and things. In the digital world, you can't really do that. So you have the ceiling, which is 0 dB, ironically named 0 dB.
Yeah, we're all in the negative world.
Yeah, exactly. So if you
ever seen Stranger Things?
it is the upside
Watch
down.
it and you'll understand.
Yeah. Everything in the normal world is clipping. And everything
we're all clipped.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, there's 0 dB, which is as loud as if you sent pink noise at 0 dB, it would be screaming loud, full line level 0, right? So we back that up, and I don't know the full history of all this, but I'm gonna explain it best I can.
It was the Brits, but go ahead.
It was the British. That's always the British.
Yeah.
30 Brits that listen, we love you.
Yes.
Probably not any Brits that listen though. Maybe, I don't know.
I think a couple.
So, we have at least one Irishman. I know that.
Yes. Gareth.
So, backing that up, like from 0, if 0 is the loudest, that means you have a ceiling. The only thing that can really change is your floor, right? You can bring the floor up, so you can add gain into your ceiling, right? But then what happens if it goes through the ceiling and just, that's
clips.
That's called clipping. So when you hear like someone referring to clipping, it's actually the digital amplitude getting clipped off at 0 dB. That's what that refers to.
Yeah.
And so what we do in the broadcast world is we use limiters that have a hard ceiling at 0 dB. And a limiter is basically a compressor with a very high compression ratio, probably 10 or higher, 10 to 1 or higher. And you raise the volume into the limiter. And and you can set the ceiling on it if you want it to be 0 or minus 0.1, and you can do that.
All right, get into the multiple stage element of it.
So what I was going to. I'm sorry that was
it's okay.
Long. What I was going to is, you can get full volume from one limiter. You can slam it. It's ultra compressed. It's not clipping, but it's loud, and it's just loud, right? I guarantee you that one limiter can't do the work and help it and have it be
transparent
and
energetic
and all the stuff. I'm just repeating what you're saying now.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do and what we've learned through years of mixing is the way to get something really loud and really transparently, compressed and limited and at full volume as much as we can is by staged compression. So in my mix template and live stream template, I have subgroups. There's one for the drums, one for the bass, one for the Moog, guitars, keys, synths,
Mm-hmm.
all those vocals, everything gets a staged, like a little subgroup, right? And so a little bit of compression at the input level, the channel level, and then it hits a bus, and that does some compression. Like with drums, you got your parallel bus, your kick snare bus, that stuff. And that's all doing a little bit of compression, right? Nothing is getting slammed except like the parallel channels.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is pretty much open. And when you get to your master chain, by the time you've gotten there, everything's already seen a little bit of compression, right? So as you compress things, it's important to make sure that your sources are good. You don't have any buzzes in your mics and things like that. You're really managing noise level because you're bringing up your noise floor when you go through limiters. Yeah. So everything gets noisy. You might start hearing some hisses, the lovely, that stuff. But what I do on our master chain is I have a bus compressor, which is, it's SSL bus. Everyone uses it. It's great. And that's doing like 1 to 3 dB of compression on the whole mix. Is seeing that. So it's on the auto release setting with either 0.3 or 0.10, 0.1. Or no, 10.
On the attack?
Yeah, in the attack. 0.3 is what I've been using. So, and the auto release.
Very fast attack.
It's actually it's actually a slower attack.
Wait, the 0.3?
Yeah, so I can't remember.
No, the attack settings are 30, it's 10, and then 30 milliseconds, 10 milliseconds, and then yes, 30 milliseconds on the SSL bus. Yes, attack is 30.
He knows.
10, 1, and then point something, and then 0.3, and then 0.1. I think that's it. So you're saying you run on 0.3?
That goes from slow on the right to fast on the left. So
correct. Yes, 30 is all the way on the right.
30 would be on the left. Or no, wait.
On the right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So anyway.
Point is.
I know. So I use a setting, but I know
we use settings.
The auto release, right? And that's that just rides the mix. So it lets the release kind of like change in time with what's happening, what's coming into it, which is cool.
Yeah.
And the attack is like on the slower side.
Yeah.
And then as we come down the line, I do like a tape stuff, some tape emulation, which makes it a little bit warmer. It's nice. And then there's an EQ, and then I have a multiband to C4 compressor that's just helping balance out if there's something, just rides the different frequency ranges a little bit. Very, very little compression happening, maybe 1 dB. And then we get into our limiters. So I have a Fab Filter Pro L2 doing. It's doing very little. It's mainly clipping off controlling, not clipping off. That was the
clipping explanation.
Not clipping.
It's not clipping.
It's managing the kick and snare levels. So those kick and snare are going to be the most dominant things. So that limiter is only going to be hitting kick and snare.
How much?
That's maybe 2 dB. Maybe. The great thing about the Fab Filter plugins is that they're so transparent. They're amazing.
They're like invisible. They're crazy. Yeah,
it's awesome.
How they made the attack and release is like insane.
Yeah, I use a preset. There's a couple of them. There's one's called Wide and Open. That's great. And then the other one's called Potentially Super Loud. So
it's called Potentially Super Loud.
Yeah, it's one of the presets. It's great. It's great. Anyway, and then it go into a stereo width thing, because after you hit like a first limiter, your mix will start to get narrow, feel a little bit narrow, and so the width kind of keeps that volume on the sides, which is cool. And then I hit another Pro L2 after that, doing the volume for and that's like the final one, right? The volume for the the whole mix, right? So depending on how much volume you need to add,
Yeah.
and I never make decisions based on how much it's actually compressing.
Mm.
I'm looking at the LUFS, which is the metering. How loud is the mix?
Mm.
So for like a record release mix, like -6 LUFS over a short term scale, I guess, would be like as loud as I'd feel comfortable sending something.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things that are louder, but for worship, that's like really loud.
Yeah.
I typically aim for -7, -6, depending on the dynamic range. You know?
Mm.
So -6 LUFS, -7 LUFS. That's LUFS. That's where I typically land. But for a live stream broadcast, it's the same concept. It's just a little bit quieter. You don't need to hit it quite as hard. So we're at like at -9.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is still like, you could release that on Spotify. That's still very loud.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Why less loud? Just because of the sensitivities and realities of
yeah,
YouTube,
like YouTube
and the compression.
They will always duck it anyway. They always take whatever you send and they cut 6 dB off of it. I believe. I think so. Or they have like, I think that's what it is. They might, I know they do some leveling, much like Spotify does. Like when you, there's a setting in your playback on Spotify that's like auto leveling, and it basically reduces the volume of everything by 6 dB. And then the songs that are quieter, it will automatically compensate. So you have a 6 dB buffer on that way. There's not a big volume jump between songs.
And that's probably helpful for like a restaurant playback or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's not, but everything gets quiet on it. It's like, oh, why is it so high?
Yeah, I see.
So
Interesting. Well, yeah, I think like it's so funny because a lot of mixing is really like we have this like really confined space of dynamic range that we have to create some type of energy within. And for some reason, sending the car through the car wash 3 or 4 times is way more effective than one really intense car wash.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what's cool is with staged compression, if you do it right, you get your mix built, like you have the band on stage, they're playing, everything feels good. What it does, the big thing it does, is it makes your moves that you have to perform to mix, like the
way
guitar
smaller.
solo, you're not going 5 dB or 7 dB.
Unless you're me, of course.
You're going 2 dB. Because each move is now, like each dB on the input side is like a multiple of that on the end.
Yes.
Because your dynamic range is smaller.
Yes.
So it actually helps
1
you a
dB
lot.
at the beginning is like 10 at the end.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
might
a
feel
huge
like
difference.
that
Yeah,
because
exactly.
the way the compression's hitting, it's bringing everything into a smaller space.
Yeah.
And so that 1 dB adds something that affects more elements than just that one guitar line.
Yes.
Yes. And that's why, like EQing, so stuff doesn't
So
step on each
simple.
other, and you're not getting like masking or anything like that. That's all like part of the growth phase. But and that again, it's very difficult to mess up once you build.
Once the
It's like,
compression's right.
but it's also if you're not aware of your like that 1-2 dB move and you go 6 dB, it destroys your mix
Entirely.
It all falls
which we
apart.
hear that all the time.
It all falls apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
Interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. But
Well, I was just gonna say, I think when it comes to live stream, especially, people, honestly, I feel this way. I don't want to be like obtuse, but like I think this way in life a lot. I heard this Navy SEAL speak on Saturday. He was part of SEAL Team 3. And the squad leader for SEAL Team 3 when he was the youngest squad leader for SEAL Team 3 ever. And
cool.
he was 23 years old and he was a squad leader.
wow.
And as a SEAL. And he's just legit guy. And he said, something that like I subscribe to, maybe a little pridefully in my life, but like, he was like, I'm not a learner, I'm an applier. And it made me think about like, it's so funny to me, like all the business books that I'll like, I'll talk to people and they're like, I'm like, oh, have you read this? Have you read this? They're like, yeah. I'm just thinking like, why aren't you doing it? Like if you read it, like, why aren't you doing it? You know what I mean? Like, what was the point of reading it if you weren't going to apply any of it? You know, and I'm not saying I've been anywhere near perfect in that. But It's funny to me how live stream is like a major struggle for people.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, here's like a few things I would just say to make this like ultra simple for people, maybe if they want to get from like a really bad realm, they can't get something like AudioLink for some reason, which I would love to hear why not, but they need to do it themselves. I would probably say, okay, let's just start here. The information about how to mic a drum set. You could mic a whole drum set except for the kick, really, with SM57s.
You could do the kick with 57s.
Yeah, I know. I did it the other day, and it wasn't pleasant. I did do it the other day. But it was on the kick in, so maybe as out it would have been better, but it was too much click. But the point is, with a very inexpensive drum mic set, you could get mics on all the drums.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just look at basic like YouTube videos, you could position them properly.
Yeah.
And then if you get some crowd mics, 2 to 4 crowd mics in the room, also very inexpensive, and you high pass them and low pass them a little bit, and then you put those in the mix, and then you just make sure everything's like just technical. We're not talking artistic. And then you like hit basic gain targets.
Yeah.
And then you just high pass and low pass filter stuff.
As needed. Yeah.
As needed. You've got music.
Yep.
And then you run the whole thing through one SSL at the top. Just one SSL that's maybe hitting like 5 dB because there's way too much dynamic range going into it. I think if people just did that, no EQ, no compression, maybe some reverb on the vocals, high pass and reverb, that would probably be a lot better and more palatable than a lot of what I encounter, because I feel like what I encounter is like a mix template that people bought that they're like, it's like a whole thing. You know what I mean? And it just kind of gets to like pots and pans. It just sounds crazy, like extreme stuff that doesn't sound natural at all. I think if you just high passed, low passed, got the thing up to level, had crowd mics that are going to airbrush everything. I feel like crowd mics are just airbrush on everything. It just makes more things acceptable, right? Because it sounds like it's in a space. I feel like live streams would be a lot better. Almost like I would say, hey, why don't you just buy a nice like stereo microphone and just put it in the middle of the room and put it through some type of limiter? It would probably be better than trying to do this complex mix that you can't do. What's your take on that?
I don't know if 5 dB was what I would do, but yeah, maybe.
I mean, how do they get it loud if they don't know how to use compression?
That's true. I think, generally speaking, there are some real basic things that are like what you're saying. Even getting like a $600 drum mic package, and just teaching drum mic techniques and proper vocal mic. How to set up a crowd mic. Even like that sort of those ideas are very basic and they are very accessible. And I think that if you do it with what you have, you'll understand more when you get something more, when you get like the actual mics that you want. You'll understand what to do with those, and then you'll hear the difference. Because if you go straight from knowing nothing to all of the nicest mics in the world, you will not appreciate what you're hearing. And I think that's really important, because then you'll actually have an opinion on something, and you're not going to be regurgitating someone else's opinions, including mine or yours.
That's the danger of audio and art. Right there.
If you've not learned it yourself, if you've not done the research and done the studying, then
try not to have an opinion.
Because like going to school is great, but the actual physical doing the work, soldering an XLR cable, all that stuff, the stuff that's not like fun or glorious. But that stuff is so much more valuable because it shows you why am I doing this? And it shows you how, and that's so. I mean,
and
you
what?
You can't learn that. You can't learn that in school.
Exactly.
Like how to get what you want to hear.
Totally. Yeah. I think like it's the element of like you don't know what XLRs you like until you've broken a couple. And then you're like, until the connectors have come off. And then you're like, oh, these ones suck. Oh, these ones are pretty nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I got noise on that one again and that one again and this one I didn't. You know, it's a bad example. But the point is like until you've, because that doesn't really happen.
Opinions on everything.
Yeah. The idea is like you actually exploring and trying things.
Yeah.
So I guess with my point, I don't want to discourage people from trying to mix.
Not at all.
But at the same time, if you have a really limited team and scope and talent, there's ways that with basic concepts, you can keep it really, really simple.
Yep.
And it can be audio that is listenable.
And you'll discover the joy of doing audio. Because if you do those things and then your result is like, you'll be shocked.
Dude,
like,
think about this.
I can do this. And so inspired.
I mixed a show in downtown Chicago. There's this big square, and I'm trying to remember the name of the square. It's in the middle of downtown Chicago where the Picasso sculpture is.
Downtown Chicago Square.
Yeah, it's not that. Mayor Daley Square, Daley Plaza, something like that. And Mayor Daley. Moving on. Point is, and I was mixing on the Soundcraft.
Yeah.
I had
The
no
VI?
compression. No,
Oh, the analogs.
the SI, the evil ones.
Oh, nice.
The spawns of so those
Satan. You were gonna say.
I was about to say it. Yeah. Good God. Point is, I had no compression on the channels.
Yeah.
But it was like this company. This guy was really nice, and he had like an Avalon tube compressor.
Nice.
You know, remember those?
Oh yeah.
That he would run everything. The whole mix bus went through that.
The 747.
Yes, it was a 747.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
Yeah, I want to buy a Randy Adams 747. He has it. I want to buy it.
Dude, it was probably on the master bus hitting like 6 to 10 dB.
On those, bro, those are tubes. You can hear the crunchiness.
Bro, but for some reason, in most of the music, it was probably maybe like 3 to 5, whatever.
Yeah.
The point is, that was the only thing I had, but it sounded like music. I just had EQ and filters and that through this like big stackable JBL PA or something. Yeah. But because the whole thing was contained and the sources were fine and it was natural, it was like, oh, this really sounds like music. Everyone was really engaged.
Yeah.
And I think the idea is that if you don't know how to use all this nuanced stuff, get a master bus compressor just working.
Yeah.
Do some basic concepts, and I think it can be listenable audio.
Yeah.
I just, again, not to repeat my earlier point, but I think it's people trying to do a bunch of stuff and they don't know how to do it. Yeah. It would be like me trying to cook some Japanese dish that I have no idea what I'm doing and trying to use all these spices. It's no, just get a piece of steak and put salt on it and sear it and you're done.
Yeah.
Like that, I can do that, and that's going to be delicious.
Do you put salt first?
What do you mean?
Sear? Or
I always put salt first. Yeah, that's where you get the crust.
I'm
kidding. Great. Yeah. So I don't know. That's just a little hot take for people, I would say, about live stream.
Yeah. It
All right.
For sure was a hot take.
Before we wrap, tell me the coolest things, tricks of the trade, deeper cut for people that are really into mixing when it comes to live stream. Coolest stuff you've been doing lately.
So hilariously enough, I don't mix a ton of live streams. I do, I set up a bunch of live streams, of course, that's part of what we do. But I'm not actively mixing a lot of them, right?
That's unacceptable. I didn't know this. I'm joking.
Stop. I think what I see people doing, and this isn't right. This isn't right, guys. Let's learn. Let's move on. That's procedural. That's all whatever. Mm-hmm. But the stuff that I want to do, I think we're trying out now. At Upper Room, we're doing this live stream, and I'm trying to make it as close to the record live as possible.
Yeah, that's fun.
And it's a new challenge because.
What are some things that are different that you're doing for that?
So
give away at least one or two secrets.
Okay, I'm replacing the kick. No, we are replacing the kick, and not because
what?
The kick, The kick drum. It's honestly, bro, like you can tune a whole kit. The kick drum is the thing that no one will know anything.
Yeah.
If it's like
it just needs to be perfectly consistent.
It needs to be consistent. So, and as consistency being our goal, it's like, let's replace the kick. Cool. So we got trigger on the kick.
It's unacceptable, but carry on. Yeah.
We're still recording all of them, and but
I'm offended.
that's really fun, and it's just fun because it's like when I mix records, that's what I'll do. I'll keep all the drums, the toms. Not all the drums, not the kick. Sorry.
Yeah.
But the toms and they're like not sampled.
Mm-hmm.
They're all real, which is great. And that's the tone. I think that's the character of the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff. And that's what we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited though to just make this like really work on this live stream, and because there's all the musicians are very, very talented, and they all have they're all working on their craft, their tone.
He's talking about it upper room.
Yeah,
if you didn't catch that.
There's a general sense of I want to get better.
Yeah,
from everybody, and that's important.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
And so you have talent, couple that with humility. I think that's a rocket ship, waiting to happen. And so I'm super excited just to like really craft this and get it like perfect. And so we're excited. I think,
dude.
I'm
excited. Like last night, no rap, but last night it was so cool. Jacob, who's like such a good bassist. I mean,
and drummer,
dude,
and all the other stuff.
He's one of the most amazing musicians,
and he's so chill.
He's so amazing, and they did like the most creative arrangements of these songs last night, and it was just the most fun. I don't know. If my ears weren't fatigued from stuff I did in the morning, I would have had so much fun. My head was kind of hurting actually, but another story. Yeah. But the point is, it still felt so good. And his tone is like just fantastic. Like I could tell he's taken a lot of time to make it right. And it may have just been for my ear fatigue. I don't know. But the bass just felt like maybe like a little bit too much top end, especially given how much was going on with these synths. And I had the 2 electrics and Nick was doing fun stuff and he was doing the drum pad. And there was just like, I had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I had 10 channels, 5 stereo pairs for keys. Yep. And then 2 stereo electrics.
Piano pads, the tracks channel, which is never
piano
tracks.
pads, tracks, all aux stereo. 1, and then aux keys 1, aux keys 2. And then the 2 electrics, and then he was also playing this acoustic as like another thing. Yeah. And then, but that was on the same channel, which was sick. I loved it. And then bass was the bass. And then sometimes he was playing his bass as a Moog sound on his bass, and then he had an actual Moog. Yeah. And then like half the songs he played the SPD
It was
pad.
very simple.
Yeah. There was a lot going on. You know what I mean? It was like a Pro Tool session. Like, and the point is, there was a lot going on, and I felt like the bass was just like a little bitey, like a little bit. And afterwards, I was like, this was just like the culture of what I think creates excellence. Like I was in the restroom and Jacob walked in and I was like, dude, it sounds great. And as we were walking out, I was just like, he was like, anything you would change? I was like, oh no, it's great. And then I was like, should I even bring this up? Yeah. And then I was just like, because it felt good. And then I was like, you know what? I guess maybe it was a little bright, but you know what? Just leave it. It's fine. And then we're like, okay, we wrapped up. And then as I walked away, he was like, wait, Tom. He's like, wait, so do you want me to lower it or not? Yeah. And I was like, yes. Yeah, go ahead and lower it. He was like, how much? About 10%. And he lowered it about probably 1 notch. And honestly, in service, it made a palpable difference to the mix, in my opinion. Yeah. And he actually cared. He wasn't like, oh, this is my tone. I know what I'm doing. I play for so-and-so. That wasn't how he was thinking. I love it. Yeah. And I've maybe mixed for Jacob like twice. Like, he doesn't have the same rapport with me as he does with you, but he had an attitude that was like, I'm going to make this the best I can. Yeah. Do you want me to change it or not? Yeah. And I appreciated that.
Todd does that too. I love that.
Oh, dude. Todd is like, that guy's such a professional. Oh my gosh.
What do I need to do to be better? And that's great. They're not worried about their ego in asking a question. Yeah. And being humble and saying, a lot of guys think that like, oh wow, I make myself look bad when I ask other people what they think. Dude. And that's not it. That's not it at all. It's actually you laying down your pride towards like in the service of the experience for people. and getting better. And like, that's just, it's awesome. There's like such a camaraderie around that.
Dude. You know? Okay. One quick side quest fast before we wrap, actually.
Side quest. Okay.
I think one thing, if you're a musician at a church or a worship pastor or something, here's the culture that you want to create, in my opinion. Okay, I don't care if the front of house guy is Lionel Messi or if he's...
Wait, soccer?
All right, how can I... I don't care if he is 5-star talent or 1-star talent. If he's mixing front of house, you need to create a culture where you trust him. Like, he's on your team. If he's mixing front of house, if you're entrusting him with it, he's making the call. And the band, no matter if they're a 5-star professional, they're like, hey, how does it feel? How does it sound? How's it translating out there? Mm-hmm. This is how it actually improves. And maybe as a leader, you could start to coach that 1-star person and get them resources to get better. But any high-level environment, the front of house engineer is really the producer, the executive producer that day of the music. And it's like, I almost feel like teams that don't do this, it's like they don't have a goalie and they're playing hockey, right? It's like or they have a player on their team that they don't pass the ball to who's right in front and can score. Like, they're just not using their team. And the front of house guy is the only person that can hear what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Everybody else, even if you're
able to change something.
And is able to change something, you know? And I think if you create that culture, it also puts pressure maybe on a lower level guy. Like, oh, they actually care about my opinion. I need to get better.
Yeah.
You know, I need to understand. I need to have a reason for my opinion. And I just think in the biggest gigs, the biggest anything that I've ever done is where I've encountered the most humility in musicians. You know, and I think that's
telling.
Dude, like in Antonio and Allison, right?
Yeah.
They're playing at everything, including, you know, the memorial service. And they play in everything. And they're just the most humble people. They're always asking, like, you know, they're there to serve. And how does it sound? How does it feel? How's the reverb?
I'm proud to say that I got Antonio and Allison onto Dante.
You did that single-handedly?
I'm not going to take all the credit. I'm sure there were others.
Just go ahead and snatch the credit.
But
right
I
now.
for sure had an influence.
So their rigs are Dante now?
I don't know if they're still Dante, but I got
they were at a time?
On his laptop.
Oh, and he's coming out.
And,
that's sick.
And yeah, it was. And okay, I love
for the memorial service, his tone was fantastic.
Yes.
Both of them.
Yeah, I mean, everything was great.
Yeah.
Corey Edwards did the stream for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. On a Lawo, I think that's what it was.
Lawo. Sounded pretty good.
Ambiguous consoles, but anyway.
Awesome. Hey, well, that's a brain dump on broadcast.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed. Deuces.
Deuces.